School education in the 21st century is not to teach everyone to be smarter, but to teach everyone to be a better person.
Gratitude in itself is a very meaningful life education.
We start by caring about ourselves, others, and the earth, and we slowly grow up by doing so. I think this society will become better.
If someone is willing to light this little candle on his own, then one candle will light up the 1,000-year dark room.
Life education is a gentle and benevolent force.
Education is a life-affecting process. Within the same classroom, there will be children with different characteristics, interests, and talents. How can we give them the most appropriate guidance at every stage of their personal growth? This is a daily issue that every education partner has to face and work hard to achieve within the field of education, and it is difficult for everyone to see these details and the processes of handling them. It is even far more difficult to separate these issues one by one. As this work has been a most important and also a most difficult challenge, here I would like to say thank you to you all for all your hard work.
I am Lynn Palowin, a student at National Huey High School. Although I was born with a disabled left hand with no palm, I believe that when God closes one door for you, another one will open.
Ever since 1997, straight after the Director General Ling Hao-chin of the Taiwan Provincial Board of Education made his public appeal, the implementation plan for promoting life education in national high schools of Taiwan has been issued, and life education has thus become an important feature in Taiwan's education. Stella Matutina Girls High School, which has bountiful experiences in life guidance and the implementation of ethics courses, has played an important role in both exemplification and promotion since 1997.
In my second month in office as the Director General of the Board of Education, I listened to reports in routine meetings that we should use a humanistic spirit to improve the quality of school education. At that time, there were severe challenges for the entire youth population, such as depression and street racing. One challenge emerged after another. At that time, I began to integrate this moral education with psychological counseling, and then promote life education.
Director General Chen Yinghao believes that moral education is very appropriate, but the title, whether it is moral education or ethical education, seems to be cliched. We can use a more specific title, so at that time the concept of life education emerged.
I once asked the Director General why the term life education was coined. They actually considered using ethics education, emotional education, or other titles. At that time, he told me that life education should be used. And then we started a discussion. I made a joke by saying, if you use life to educate people in this matter, life will not return to the beginning. He replied that this education must be carried out, and this policy must also be introduced. I was very touched by what he said.
We set up the Ethics Education Promotion Center at Stella Matutina Girls High School. Why did this take place there? About 30 to 40 years ago, this school had started to sort garbage and carry out recycling. At that time, they implemented whole-person ethics education. From the opening ceremony to the last day of graduation, all the administration was concerned with implementing whole-person personality education, so I have grown to admire them very much.
The richly endowed experiences of Stella Matutina Girls High School in promoting life education were highly valuable resources for the Board of Education at that time, and this school also enlightened the Republic of China to promote life education with ethics education at the core. hoping to improve humanistic qualities and strengthen spiritual reform. In the initial stages of life education promotion, the Board of Education implemented it in an encouraging way, inviting willing school principals and directors to participate in the workshops, and established 20 central schools in junior and senior high schools, and then promoted it to neighboring schools through the central schools. It was a promotion mode from points to lines and then to a comprehensive promotion for schools willing to manage such a task.
At that time, we thought that the whole school must pay attention to this matter, but also this should neither add extra workload to the school, nor add to the existing school courses and activities. For many schools, they did have self-improvement activities, tutoring activities, and many extracurricular activities. In these matters, we needed to consider how to integrate the spirit of life education within the present school activities. We also had a very important idea at that time. It would be better for school leaders to set a good example for the entire school's administrative leadership team with enthusiasm for life. Otherwise, it would be neither practical to promote the course, nor possible to promote life education.
Taiwan was the first country in Asia to promote humanistic education under the name of life education. In 1998, in order to enrich the way of promotion, the Life Education Overseas Study Group was extended through the Evergreen Project led by Professor Suling Lin. A total of 29 principals, student affairs division directors, counseling directors, and teachers went to the United States for a 3-week tour of observation learning. After returning to Taiwan, they also launched a series of guidance group trainings and course promotions for high schools and vocational schools all over Taiwan.
Because of the term Western psychology, we thought the West might have some foundations or perspectives in the discussion of life. So, from the beginning, everyone went to the United States with the intention of learning. That initial group was called the Life Education Study Group in the United States. Everyone was very excited when they came back. And, in that group, I remember that there were 5 principals, 5 student affairs division directors, 5 counseling directors, several counselors, and people in charge of extracurricular activities. Everyone was able to share ideas in terms of the nature of their work. This group has been in existence for 22 years, and we have had meetings with one another almost every year since then.
When going to the United States to study, Director General Ing Hao Chin entrusted the Ethics Education Promotion Center to compile 12 units of 6-year teaching materials for junior and senior high schools. These units moved in the direction of caring for people, matters, time, places, objects, and cherishing life. They avoided the use of words about death and avoided religious bias. There were 12 units in the teaching materials, including teachers' handbooks and activities for various experiences for reference.
At that time, not only Stella Matutina Girls High School teachers Chien Young Jen and Fong Chen Chi, but also some teachers from other schools were invited as well. Each teacher chose a unit to work on, and everyone spent a lot of time organizing the structure of these 12 units. The first collection of life education teaching plans was completed when life education was in its infancy, and it has been a project of the Taiwan Provincial Board of Education since then.
In January 1999, Professor Avijay Tsing, who was the vice president of Yangming University at the time, published an editorial in the United Daily News titled, Life Education, a link that cannot be missed in education reform, whose content emphasized the importance of emotional education, interpersonal skills, and thinking abilities. Moreover, focus was put on the understanding of the meaning of life and the value of one's personal existence. In addition, in March of the same year, Professor Tsing accompanied Professor Xiao Qi, son of National Taiwan University and former Director General of the Board of Education, Chen Yinghao, to give a presentation to the Ministry of Education entitled, Life Education Implementation Status and the Road Ahead. The minister at that time, Minister Chao Sheng-yang, immediately instructed the training disciplinary to carry out the tasks needed to promote all matters related to life education. It was also required that all implementation procedures within the guidelines of grades 1 to 9 curriculum were put into effect. On September 21, 1999, a massive earthquake hit the central mountainous area of Taiwan. This disaster was not only a symbol of the people's resilience in times of suffering, but it also served as a catalyst, developing the idea that life education should also focus on self, loving others, respecting life, and caring for Mother Nature. At the same time, it also fulfilled the core value of love and care in life education. Therefore, in 2000, in order to implement the promotion of life education more concretely, the Ministry of Education invited Professor Xiaoqin's son, Professor Siling Lin, and Professor Xingyong Wang to put forward a 7-year pilot plan on how to implement the 16-year comprehensive education system, lasting from elementary school to university. This plan became the backbone of how life education was implemented as a whole. After the meeting, Minister Chao Shengyang also gave instructions to set up a School of Life Education project team, which served as the foundation for the curriculum framework of life education moving forward. In May 2000, Professor Avid Seng Jyh Lang Seng assumed the role of the Minister of Education and established the Life Education Promotion Committee of the Ministry of Education. He divided the committee into 4 groups including Research, Development and Evaluation, Teacher and Workforce Training, Course and Teaching Development, and Publicity and Promotion, and he presented them at the inauguration press conference on January 2, 2001. It was the year known as the Life Education Year, to help students to recognize the true meaning and value of life. The committee has also served as a roadmap for future directions on how life education can be promoted within the scope of the 16-year comprehensive education system, which encompasses elementary school to university. The announcement of the promotion of life education in 1997 and the naming of 2001 as of the Year of Life Education by the Ministry of Education both served as another official reaffirmation of the importance of life education within the scope of education policy.
Well, before I came to the ministry, Chen Inghao, the former Director General of the Taiwan Provincial Board of Education, had actually been leading a group of people who exerted a lot of effort coming up with ways to take care of this matter. At that time, several former directors from a wide variety of academic fields, the private sector, and schools collaborated with each other. They introduced this plan to the Ministry of Education, which had already been in existence even before I started working for the Ministry of Education. In fact, it had been the lead of Minister Yang Chaoshang. We must give credit and recognize the efforts of the previous ministers. They had introduced it to be a part of the plan. I just reiterated its importance and made it a core policy of the Ministry of Education as part of education policy promotion. I think this link is very important and credit needs to be given to the ones who thought of it. Still, everyone worked on it together and the public was also receptive to these ideas.
Following the inaugural year of the Year of Life Education, in May 2001, the Ministry of Education put forward a medium plan for promoting life education for 4 years. The Executive Secretary, Professor Siling Lin of the Life Education Promotion Committee of the Ministry of Education, convened different members of the Life Education Study Group in the United States into this plan, including the principals of elementary and high schools and teachers, to compile a promotion plan on the basis of their practical experiences.
I remember that there were 40 in our study group. Half of them, about 20 or so, were the ones who went to the United States. The other half included Mandarin Chinese teachers selected by us in various central schools and schools that we promoted. There was a school principal, who did not go to the United States, who also promoted this work. I also remember that teachers Li Junyi and Young Zhenqian gathered together at that time, and all of us stayed at Mawudu in Guanxi Township for 3 days to complete the medium-term plan. Of course, before the medium-term plan was implemented, we did it first. I mean, each group worked first, and then the group meetings were the current professional development group and seminars. We worked individually, and then went to the group meetings with a computer and a printer, and then everything was compiled together in the group. I still have the photos of that memory. I came back after that study, and then we started to develop the pamphlet of the medium-term plan of life education.
I am Professor Snow H. Sang from the Graduate Institute of Photonics and Optoelectronics and the Department of Electrical Engineering, National Taiwan University. I am honored to be a professor, meeting with students in their life journeys, and growing up together with sorrow and laughter. I am very happy to be their blessing and be a small candlelight that lightens the darkness.
The 95 tentative edition of High School Curriculum Guidelines set life education as an elective credit, which created a new situation. In the 99 Curriculum Guidelines, life education was set as a compulsory credit, and in the 12-year Basic Education Curriculum Guidelines, life education has become a compulsory credit. This might be the only life education curriculum in the world that is compulsory for high schools. Taiwan's experience in promoting life education has not only attracted the attention of the world, but also attracted Asian countries to observe and learn from it.
During my tenure in the Ministry of Education, I actively promoted life education. At the same time, I was also concerned about issues related to global warming. So, at that time, I was promoting related issues such as saving the earth by promoting vegetarian food every Monday. Also, at that time about 93% of our elementary and high schools participated in vegetarian diets every Monday, which was indeed highly valued and affirmed by the United Nations. Other very important issues were the result of coordinating with the teachers of life education and communication with some principals. We changed the optional subjects of life education in high school to compulsory subjects, so that was indeed a very important breakthrough at that time.
The Taiwan Provincial Board of Education to the 95 tentative edition of the High School Curriculum Guidelines may be regarded as the first stages of the development of life education, that is, the 3 questions of life which have been used as a framework to construct the connotations of life education. After the 95 tentative edition of the High School Curriculum Guidelines, the 3 questions of life were formally put forward in the 98 Curriculum Guidelines. The third stage was after the 99 Curriculum Guidelines, and the Ministry of Education began to plan the Curriculum Guidelines for the 12-year Basic Education. I think the Curriculum Guidelines for the 12-year Basic Education were crucial to the development of life education and the development of education in ROC, Taiwan.
From the implementation of life education in 1998 to the life education connotations of the 3 questions of life, the theoretical basis of life education has been clearly outlined. However, how teachers guide students to think and respond to these fundamental questions of life is believed to be the biggest challenge facing the life education course. Therefore, in 2004 and 2009, the Life Education Association and the National Taiwan University Life Education Center were successively established, bringing together academic institutions and non-governmental organizations to promote the academic development of life education. They assisted in the implementation of life education at the primary and junior high school education stages and in teacher training.
This curriculum guideline was set to be implemented in 2006. so I remember that it started in January or February of 2005. I think that after 1.5 years of preparation, the first group of life education teachers would be ready to set out on the road, so probably at the end of 2004, I was ready to do the first phase of teacher training in life education. From the first period of teacher training, I have systematically arranged their theoretical studies, as well as life education and teaching-related studies, and then their own spiritual advancement, personality integrity, and unity of knowledge and action. There were various possibilities of reflective learning, and the teaching methods adopted included normal courses, as well as others of more diverse nature and beyond traditional forms. The innovative courses were implemented in the form of workshops or courses in spiritual study groups.
It takes 10 years to grow trees, but 100 years to grow a person. Life education needs to integrate the wisdom and enthusiasm of all people on the journey of leading people to be good. The promotion of life education started from national junior high schools, extended upwards to universities, and took root in elementary schools. After nearly 20 years of promotion experiences, completing intentions to assist colleges and universities in developing the characteristics of life education, and setting up primary and junior high school education at each stage. The School of Life Education Center provided consultation and resource integration. As a result, the Ministry of Education established the Life Education Center in 2015.
I really want to thank the Ministry of Education for the affirmation, as well as the support and appreciation from many review committee members, which is why Nanhua University stands out. We believe that schools are not the only ones to promote life education. Some non-governmental organizations have also done well. For example, as far as I know, Fu Guangshan, Tzu Chi, and many other social support groups and units, as well as many units of Christianity and the Catholic churches have done very well. We set up a promotion committee at the Life Education Center of Nanhua University and the Life Education Center of the Ministry of Education. This promotion committee recruited scholars and experts, and at the same time, we used the experience of some NGO groups to promote them. The experiences could be shared together, so we particularly invited many religious groups because they were promoted by non-government units. This committee is a group that includes people from all walks of life who are concerned about the issue of life education, and representatives from them joined in the event together. Through the Life Education Center of the Ministry of Education, we conduct annual surveys to find out whether our colleges and universities in Taiwan have encountered any problems in promoting the Life Education Center. Also, did the county and city governments encounter any difficulties when promoting life education? Have there been any problems encountered in the junior high school, elementary school, and life education school centers? The other very important achievement is that we have constructed some current administrative support networks related to life education.
If it's not you, then who is it? If it's all for yourself, what's the point? If it's not now, when will it be? These are all from the Talmud. These 3 sentences not only point out the connotations of life education, but also emphasize the importance of life education taking root from an early age. After 20 years of development, life education has accumulated a lot of resources, and the direction of future promotion is becoming more and more systematic and integrated under the planning of the Ministry of Education.
Helping children to better themselves, which is the most important core spirit in promoting the 12-year basic education curriculum guidelines. What this concept covers are not only to help children with different characteristics to develop their own interests and potential, but also more importantly, that children are able to explore themselves and affirm themselves in the process of thinking, implementing, revising, and gradually understanding their own interests and believing in how much energy and possibilities they have, as well as growing into their favorable lifestyle. All the efforts of our life education continue to work hard and bring children these precious gifts. In the curriculum guidelines for the 12-year basic education, life education is also integrated into the literacy-oriented teaching of courses. It is necessary to break away from theoretical teaching so that the connotations of life education can be learned in a way that is closer to children. Teachers and partners can be more flexible in course planning and the use of time. I also hope that when promoting life education, the teaching partners can combine the characteristics of the school and the roots of the local area, so that children can understand the local history, explore the past and the context of excavations, and then be able to think about themselves in more meaningful ways, such as who am I? And where am I going in the future? We will also work together with all our education partners to push life education forward solidly through inheritance, to share our resources and experiences, and to practice what we find in everyday life. We expect to accompany children in different life stages, help them look at the most beautiful sides of life, and gain a more ideal concept of themselves. With 20 years of life education, may the endless love and hope last forever.
With 20 years of life education, may the endless love and hope last forever.
20 years of life education, may love and hope last forever.
20 years of life education, may love and hope last forever.
With 20 years of life education, may the endless love and hope last forever.
20 years of life education, may love and hope last forever.